I share greetings, grand rising on a grand day, and peace and goodwill to you all. Once again, my fellow natural native earthly humans. Yes, my fellow earths, organic humans, and my fellow soulful sun people, soulful humans, the world over. And welcome to this, the first in a series of my lecture presentations titled Redemption from the Curse of the Black Spell Revisited. And to kick things off today, I will be featuring one of the imperialist and colonizers' religion's most sacred ritual called baptism. Yes, I will be thoroughly examining the English word baptism. What is enveloped therein, I will be decoding it. And many thanks for stopping by and taking time out of your life to listen to yours truly. And a special thanks to you, my young people, the youths, my African brothers, young African brothers and sisters to whom the world belongs, the future of the world belong, not to us, not to people like me and those older than me who soon dead and possible, should. But to the youth to whom the future belong, and you have to make the changes and do the right thing to secure your future, because the old people have caused all the problem. Yes, them so-called old leaders that are creating all the wars and send you guys, young people, to go and die. So the future belongs to you. Always remember that. That's a fact. So, and I'd like you to know how much I respect, love, and appreciate you young people, especially those that are being awakened and studying and taking time to find out what's really going on. I am yours truly, the Mystic Philosopher. Now, at the end of my last series of presentations or talks, I gave you what I call a heads up on what this new series titled Redemption from the Curse of the Black Spell Revisited will be all about. I told you that it promises to be a very informative and a very thought-provoking series of lecture presentations, and one in which, and as customary, I will present as much logical argument, as much reasoning, and where possible or where necessary, I will give practical examples. I will share relevant reference materials. I'll let you know where I get the information from when necessary. And I will share reference material and proven facts that will both support, substantiate, and prove whatever points I will be making or I will make. In other words, I don't want you to think or get the impression that I'm just making up things in my head. And so if or when necessary, I will tell you my source of information. I told you that it will be a fact-filled and not a faith-filled series of talks or presentations. And some of the thought-provoking ideas and unique perspectives that I will be sharing in this series with you will be on topics such as words, languages, and the power of words, the power of language, the power of names, the power of signs and symbols, the power of energy, cymatics, frequency, vibration, the power of curses, spells, and above all, and in particular, as it relates to us, the natural native earthly human. Yes, we, the Earth's organic human, the Earth's highly enriched melanin core skin complexion people, aka Africans. The curse and destructive power of the dark magicians and soulless creatures, aka the imperialists and colonizers and colonialist the word black. You'll be learning a lot about that word and why we must immediately stop calling ourselves black, identifying with black, and immediately stop accepting being called black. You will learn a lot. Why? And I told you that I will continue to share much more on the colonization of the mind aka mental colonization, and much, much more. Stay tuned, follow and listen. Now, even though this is not how I had really planned to start this series, but someone having listened to the last episode I did from the last episode titled, rather episode 37 of my last series titled, Can Africa Be Set Free? Can Burkina Faso, the land of upright people, be set free? Someone having listened asked me to please clarify and explain in more details what I meant by the statement, and I quote, "Baptist is fine, but baptism is not good," unquote. The truth be told, if or when all things are considered, as you shall no doubt shortly see, when we decode and evaluate this thing, you shall no doubt shortly see, both Baptists and baptism are not good for us African people, for us melanated people, for us the earth's organic humans. And you shall no doubt shortly see. Stay tuned. The fact is, this is not how I had really planned to start this new series. But because of a lot of the materials, the topics and points that I will be using to do this clarification as requested, are some of those that I will be covering in the new series. And I have just decided, and so I just decided to do it and call it what? Part 1. And to do the clarification as requested by one of you, my listeners, I will quote verbatim what I had said in that last episode, 37. And I quote, "For those of you that may have listened to me or heard me speak before, or may have read any of my writings, you will have heard me stated that words ending with the suffix ism and what they represent are not good for us, the natural native earthly humans. Yes, we, the earth's organic humans, commonly called Africans, aka Africans. Whenever we hear the word that ends with ism, we must know immediately that it is not good for us and that we should stay the hell away from it. For example, the word race by itself is fine, but when it becomes racism, that's when it becomes a problem for us, not for other people. We don't busy with other people. The word social is okay, but when it becomes socialism, that is when it might become a problem for us. The word capital is fine, but when it becomes capitalism, that is when it becomes a problem for us. Imperial may be fine, but when it becomes imperialism, that's when it becomes a problem for us. Baptist is fine, but when it becomes baptism, that is when it becomes a problem for us. And the list goes on and on. Unquote. Now I ask that you please note that I did not say that words that end with the suffix ism are not good. But I say, and specifically say, that they are not good for us, the natural native earthly humans. We, the earth's organic humans. We, the earth's highly enriched melanin. We, the earth's highly enriched carbon skin complexion people. We, the people of the Most High in the sky. We, the sunful people. We, the people of the sun. We, the people of soul. We, the people with soul, aka we, the soulful people. We, the people that are commonly called Africans. I said and still maintain that words that ends with the suffix ism are not good for us. I would also like to remind you of the fact that this is not our language. We'll be looking into this much deeper later. Stay tuned. And these are not our words, but that they are the language and words of our colonizers, namely the English and the British language. And their words, it belongs to them. And I would also like to remind you that I did not state that as long as we continue, rather, I would like you to remind you that I did state it, that as long as we continue to use their language, We cannot, and we will never be free from their mental colonization. These are topics that I will be getting into in much more detail as I continue to explore many things in this new series, Redemption from the Curse of the Black Spell Revisited. So please stay tuned. So basic logic coupled with activated common sense will affirm that their language and their words and everything about them are good for them, but not for us. Please be not be deceived anymore. So when I said that baptism is a problem for us Africans and that it is not good for us, I was hoping that you, my listener, had listened to my previous presentations in which I told you that religion is not an African thing. I told you that religion, is not of our most honorable African ancestors. They did not invent religion. They did not know religion or knew religion. They did not practice religion originally. They did not. It's not of them. And that I told you that religion was forced upon them by the malevolent imperialist and colonialist. Yes, the Arabs and the Caucasoid invaders and colonizers. That's how religion got into on the motherland. I told you that what our most honorable ancestors knew and practiced were African spirituality and African cosmology. And I told you that religion and language are two of the imperialist and colonialist most deadly weapons. Weapons of both mass destruction and mass mental destruction. I told you that religion, that the religion Christianity and Islam are not native to our original African ancestors, but that they are alien religions and alien ideologies that were violently forced upon them by the religious imperialists and colonialist invaders and conquerors. I told you that religion is a weapon of colonialism and imperialism, and that baptism is one of their religions' ritual, namely a Christian religious ritual. In a few of my previous episodes, I also told you that imperialism is equal to colonialism, which is equal to demonism, which is equal to devilism. And to summarize it, imperialism is unadulterated wickedness. It is morally reprehensible. I also told you that we must know and know that we know that there is absolutely no one that is involved with the practice of those philosophies and ideologies that is good. And that there is absolutely nothing about imperialism, colonialism, demonism, devilism that is good, full stop. We know and know that we know that anything and everything that is associated with or promoted by imperialism and its practitioners is polluted and thus dangerous and no good, especially for us Africans. And with that said, please let me now dissect, decode, and explain the word baptism for you. The truth be told, and as I have mentioned earlier, neither the word baptist and the act of baptism is good for us Africans. And why? It is because they are imperialists and colonizers and the colonialist religious rituals. A Baptist, by meaning and definition, according to English dictionary, is a person who baptizes people. And a Baptist is also known as a member of a Protestant sect that believes in adult baptism upon profession of their faith or upon profession of their belief in Christianity, generally by full immersion. And again, I must reiterate that Christianity is not for us. It is not of us. It is not for us or belongs to us. And thus, it is of no good benefit to us. However, it is extremely good and beneficial for the people to whom it belongs, the imperialists and the colonialists. Now we know who and what a Baptist is. Now let us look at baptism. Baptism is defined as, and I quote, initiatory sacrament of the Christian faith, consisting in immersion in or application of water by an authorized administrator. Unquote. This is according to the etymology dictionary online. Now, when you meticulously look at, dissect, and decode the word baptism, and if or when you study its definitions and see what other words are directly related to it, you will no doubt come to the conclusion that the physical act of baptism, aka external baptism, is a magic ritual as clearly defined above. Again, I quote, baptism is an initiatory sacrament of the Christian faith, consisting in immersion in or application of water by an authorized administrator. Unquote. Therefore, when someone is initiated into the Christian religion through the physical act of baptism, and especially in the company of witnesses, he or she has professed to have entered into a covenant with the Christian God, aka a covenant with the Lord, and thus he or she is considered to be in covenant with the Christian God. Now, what does the word covenant really and truly means? Let's investigate. Now, to the average Christian convert, the word covenant simply means agreement. As I have agreed to follow Jesus and to do the Lord's will. 2, a covenant is a bond rather, or an agreement between 2 or more parties, often confirmed by oath. Thus, when you perform the public and external act or public or external ritual of baptism, you are demonstrating that you are taking an oath to follow and to serve the Christian God for the rest of your life and possible into eternity. But let's look at the word covenant a bit more closer. Let's dissect it and let's see what it truly entails or envelope. Grammatically, the word covenant is a compound word, meaning it is a noun. It's actually a compound noun, meaning it is a noun that is made up of 2 or more words. Etymologically, it comes from the Latin word covenire, which means come together, unite, be suitable, agree. Grammatically, as a verb, the word covenant means to enter into a formal agreement or a formal contract. Please, again, I ask that you see etymology dictionary online for these words. That's my source. The word or the noun covenant means an agreement, usually formal, between 2 or more persons to do or not to do something specified, or a solemn agreement between the members of a church to act together in harmony with the precepts of the gospel. Unquote. See dictionary.com for that definition. Now, when the word covenant is separated into 2 words, it transformed into the word govern, which is the root or the stem word, and ant, A-N-T, which is the suffix. The word govern means, listen carefully now, check it for yourself. The word govern, C-O-V-E-N, from the word covenant, C-O-V-E-N-A-N-T. The word govern means the gathering or the assembly of witches. Etymologically, it means a meeting or a gathering or assembly of witches. Check it for yourself. I swear I didn't make it up. Look it up. Just Google it right now and you see I'm not making this thing up. And what is the definition of the suffix ant? Let's look at it. A suffix ant, the suffix ant is a suffix forming adjectives and nouns from verbs. Occurring originally in French and Latin loan words. Example, pleasant, constant, servant, etc. And productive in English and on this model. And has the general sense characterized by serving in the capacity of, that named by the stem, ascendant, pretendant, especially in the formation of nouns and denoting human agents in legal actions or other formal procedures like tenant, defendant, applicant, contestant. Again, I ask that you check this out for yourself at dictionary.com. So in summary, with this deeper and etymological understanding and overstanding of the word baptism, meaning a covenant or an agreement, one will or one must honestly and logically conclude that baptism is really an agreement, aka a contract with a coven, aka the gathering or the assembly of witches, or the gathering or the assembly of witches that is controlled by witches or by lords. And thus, when a person is baptized, be it a man or a woman or a child, he or she enters into a contract with a coven. Again, what is a coven? Check it for yourself. It is the gathering or the assembling of what? Witches, or the gathering or assembly of witches that is controlled by what? Witches or by lords. And thus, when a person is baptized, be it a man or a woman or a child, he or she enters into a contract with a coven, the gathering or assembly of witches. And he or she hand over his or her body, his or her mind, or his or her spirit and soul to what? A coven, the gathering, assembly of witches that is controlled by lords. And by doing so, promises to be of service or to be a slave throughout eternity. And please note that the English or the British language is the language of the imperialism and colonialism, the language of the imperialists and the colonialists, the language of the soulless creatures. And the religion called Christianity is also the language of imperialism and colonialism, the religion of the imperialists and of the colonialists. These are facts. All that I did was to read and carefully dissect and decode it for you. And you can do it also for yourself. And I hereby ask that you, my listeners, please do your own search and research. And if at all you can prove that my findings and my interpretations and any or all of that I've said about baptism so far in this video is incorrect, I ask that you please do a response video and help me see what I may have overlooked. For even in my senior years, I am still learning, and I love learning. And I'm open to learning new and relevant facts. So, this is the end of part 1 of this series titled Redemption from the Curse of the Black Spell Revisit, featuring the word baptism. Please stay tuned for part 2. In the meantime and between time, here's willing that you be more and more and much, much more, not be less. Let no one be less you. For I am the Mystic Philosopher. Ashe, 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 I say. Thanks again for listening, and please share.